The Guardians are searching for some offense and some adjustments. We'll talk about what's not working for the offense. Plus, we'll check in on the Guardians to see if they can find some offense and a win in San Francisco. This is Locked On Guardians.
You are Locked On Guardians, your daily podcast on the Cleveland Guardians. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome on into another episode of Locked On Guardians. It is our favorite half hour of the day. We hope it is yours as well, because it's where we talk about the Cleveland Guardians for the next half hour, from the majors to the minors to draft and everything in between. And we do it every day. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We cover your team, the Cleveland Guardians, every single day. I am Justin Lada, one of your co-hosts here. I have been writing about the Cleveland Guardians minor league system and providing analysis on their prospects since 2007. And I do it every day of the week here with my friend and co-host, Jeff Ellis.
Hello, everyone. Your intro made me want to start singing Holding Out for a Hero, because it feels like what this offense is doing. Holding out for a hero.
Rodriguez is the hero.
Yeah, I know, you know. He's what,
like
got to be
thought.
Straight from the fight. I am Jeff Ellis. I'm going to do everything's favorite, an intro. First, I want to say a shout out to all of our everydayers. Special shout out to Tyler, Camila. Sorry if I got your name wrong, but I get everyone's name wrong. You're part of a not so small community of thousands. I also want to thank you for making today's episode your first listen today and every day wherever you get podcasts. And then to say about me, I am Jeff Ellis. I was one of the OG hosts when Locked On expanded baseball, and their go-to host on the draft. We'll have some information on that to follow this year, as well as a longtime national writer at Scout 24/7, focused on prospects and the draft.
Yeah, a lot more draft stuff to come ahead from us, from Jeff, from the network. So if you're into the MLB draft or you want to learn more, you should definitely tune in for more announcements on that. But on today's show, we won't talk about the draft. I think we'll get into the draft a little bit more tomorrow. Then we'll be combine, so come back tomorrow for more MLB combine notes. We'll talk about the futures game a little bit, and that's about a month away. So we'll talk about who the Guardians could send to the futures game, and if that matters, we'll check in throughout the game, Guardians and Giants, to see if the Guardians can score some runs and win a game. We won't have a full game analysis on this podcast because of the late start, but we'll check in periodically throughout the game. We'll start today's show talking about Guardians hitters, including Gabriel Arias, and who is not standing close enough to the plate, offensive adjustments, and what they mean for the Guardians. A lot of good conversation based around some of those changes. Before we get into it all today, Jeff, got to let everybody know that today's episode of Locked On Guardians is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money today. Use our code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Someone who could probably stand 50% closer to the plate is Gabriel Arias. There was a good article on Fangraphs, I want to say last week, about MLB Savant's Baseball
June
Savant's
13th.
new tool.
So
Yeah, June
about 4
13th.
days ago.
So one of the new tools we can see from Baseball Savant's website is the batting stance leaderboard. And what that is it's showing us where guys stand in the box. So it's how far back they're standing in the batter's box, how far away from the plate they're standing from the batter's box, and if the angle of their stance is inverted or external. So think of Rafael Devers, who leads all of baseball in open stances. He's got his front leg way off, out past his front shoulder. Wide open stance. Same with like Ozzie Albies, picture that, Fernando Tatis. And then Gabriel Arias is pretty closed off. He's got his front foot towards his left shoulder instead of his back shoulder. So that's the kind of thing that this leaderboard, this visualization tool is giving us. And the big thing this article pointed out, Jeff, was that the guys who are standing the furthest away from the plate are power hitters. We've got Aaron Judge. We've got Shohei Ohtani. We've got Paul Goldschmidt, Jake Berger, Ellie De La Cruz, Bo Naylor, and Kyle Manzardo are on this list. We'll talk about them as well. But Gabriel Arias is, I don't know if the right term here is lead, but he has the most extreme stance in all of baseball in that he stands the furthest away from the plate, and he is standing pretty far back on the plate as well. He's not in the bottom of it, 29 inches away, but he is like in the top 20 or so. So last year, Jeff, Gabriel Arias, if you go look at his some of the zone areas that he attacked, he did not cover the inside of the plate very well. He struggled on pitches on the inside of the plate. He was seeing fastballs on the inside of the plate more. But he really just had a poor year offensively overall. This year, he is standing more upright in the box. He's standing way away from the plate. And what that's done for him is it allowed him to hit pitches better on the inside of the plate. So he is showing better exit velocities and less swing and misses in the zone on the inner half of the plate. And that's great. That works because he's covering that part of the plate he was getting busted on last year. And oddly enough, now he is crushing balls that are low and middle, but he is now missing everything else. His whiff rate on pitches in the middle of the zone is somewhere in the 30 to 40% range, depending on where you're looking at. He is just having a hard time covering the middle of the plate. And that's just so weird that he would adjust his stance to cover the inner half and use his closed stance and his stride to try to cover the outer half. And it's left him susceptible to the middle of the plate pitches, which is where you would want to crush pitches, right? When major league pitchers make a mistake in the middle of the zone, you want to annihilate that pitch. And instead, these changes have really messed him up on the on the middle of the plate. He's having a very hard time crushing middle of the plate pitches this year because of this change.
It made me think of the old SNL skit. Get on the bag, Brandon. You might. Will Ferrell.
I know a lot of them about that.
That was more about second base, era. I believe, or first base. But just to give you an idea, we talked about it in some ways. So Aaron Judge, large human, 32.7 distance off the plate. Gabriel Arias, 35.4. Not only is he the farthest back, it's by a lot. That same Aaron Judge, 27.2 depth, 29.3 for Gabby. Yeah, I understand the why, and Justin just did a fantastic job. Is illustrating the why. I don't have anything I could really do to change or add to it. But my point is, it's not working. So I understand the why, but results matter, and this is not working. And it's kind of fascinating to me. You mentioned you go through this list. It's Paul Goldschmidt, great year. Aaron Judge, great year. Jake Berger's been okay. Ellie De La Cruz, Ohtani, Lawrence Butler. Then you got Mickey Moniak, who's not good. Bo Naylor, who's been about average this year. Augustin Ramirez, who might be the NL Rookie of the Year. Jonah Heim, inconsistent. Kyle Manzardo, inconsistent. Ryan McMahon, inconsistent. Nathan Lowe, solid. Max Kepler, inconsistent. It's not like this is a cheat code. There are some great hitters on it, but one of the big things is Goldschmidt is huge. Judge is huge. Berger actually isn't that big, but De La Cruz is a big guy. Ohtani.
Berger's a big man. He's just not tall.
Tall, yeah. So
Ohtani's huge, yeah.
Is he? I actually don't know. I'm not good at knowing height, weight stuff with players. I got to be real honest. Unless it's very
he's
honest.
A physical specimen, yeah.
I mean, that we can all agree on that. But when you go through, you look at it. It's a list of guys who are not Gabby Arias sized. So yes. I think this is it's gonna get me in trouble. It's a small degree of a coaching failure right now because this shouldn't be allowed to continue. This is something that they should react to and already have put steps into place for. They made some great adjustments with Gabby last year when he got.
Well, it was working. It was working early. Remember the first part of the year he was doing well.
I mean,
so they
he's
had
also rocking a 400 BABIP. We said he was going to hit a wall, and people got mad at us, and he did. And now those people who got mad at us want him demoted. Whereas I'll say the other side to Gabby is for all of the offensive struggles, he might be the best defensive shortstop in baseball this year by multiple metrics. So it puts you in a hard situation with him. And that's why this is an extreme stance. He is in an extreme stance. It's not going to, don't hunt unicorns. Don't go for extreme. He's got to do some other things. I'd be curious to see where his stance was last year in AAA when he had success and what he was doing in the Winter League. Because it does feel like he's gotten a little off of what made him quite as successful last year. But this isn't going to lead to success. It's just not.
Yeah. And I can understand it to a degree because he was trying to maybe tap into the opposite field power a little bit more because he does have that opposite field power, and you're going to get that kind of power on pitches on the outside part of the plate, which he was having a hard time with a year ago. So I do understand that to a degree. I'm sorry. No, it was the other way around. He was having a hard time inside of the plate, and he can naturally cover the outside of the plate because of his stride and because of how he's set up in the box. All right. We'll touch on more of the players on this list. We'll talk about more of the why and what can change for the Guardians and their hitting coach and their approach. We'll touch on that. We'll check in from San Francisco. We'll talk about the futures game, all coming up next on today's Lock On Guardians. Stay locked in. I know we all need to lock in on our savings these days. It has been a busy summer for me. As I've talked about before, I've had a lot of birthdays coming up. My mom's retiring. I'm trying to throw her a party. I've had my wedding anniversary. So I know where all my money is going right now, but I want to stay on track and I want to reach some financial goals. And that is how Monarch Money is set up to help me, help you. It's our personal CFO. It's going to give us full visibility and control over our finances. It's not just a budgeting app. It is a full financial command center. It's going to track all of our accounts, investment spending in one place. You don't have to use multiple apps, which I've had to do before. It's a real struggle. And for things like goals, if you want to go on vacation, make some home improvements, you can stick to your goals with shared accounts with your partner, yourself, and it doesn't have to be awkward. It can eliminate those hard conversations that we've all had. Take control of your finances today with Monarch Money. Use our code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That is Monarch Money, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. Well, Slade Cicconi's looked pretty good so far in this game. I know he's given up a run 2 to 3 innings he's pitched, but the stuff has been pretty good. Yeah, it's been a lot of whiffs, and I'm still very excited about it. I know he's given up 2 runs, but the fastball is getting more whiffs than it did a year ago, and the slider's been fantastic. So he also struck out Rafael Devers in his Giants debut, although Devers came back and had an RBI double.
He hit the ball the same place Rodriguez did, and we made fun of like how slow Rodriguez is, and Devers only got to second base.
Yeah, I had a tweet about his debut and it aged like milk because Devers crushed him in his last at bat. All right, we were talking about adjustments, hitting adjustments, and I think that you're absolutely right, Jeff, that this is a thing the coaching staff definitely has to be on top of. Like we always talk about like giving coaches too much credit or too little credit for certain things or how much credit to give them. This is definitely one of those things. And look, this is a results-based business. I understand process over results, right? If you have a good process, more times than not, it's going to lead to good results. I understand why they have stuck with this adjustment because he did have success early in the year. And when a player is having success, they're not looking at, all my BABIP's 400 because I don't think Grant Fink is going to Gabriel Arias and saying, hey, it's May and you're doing really well based on this change, but your BABIP is 400, so it's not going to continue. Get down, ball. Get down. That's a fair ball. All right, David Fry. All right, looking better. That's going to be a triple. The slowest player. No, he had to stay at second. That's a good call. David Fry was looking as slow as Jonathan Rodriguez right there, but I'll take the leadoff double. Grant Fink's not going to Gabriel Arias and saying, hey, this isn't working because you have a 400 BABIP. It's not going to stick. Like, you have to make a change. And you don't want to over tinker, right? Like, this is a new adjustment for Arias, this batting stance. You don't want to go 3 months into the season and say, okay, it's not working. We need to change because it's 3 months. It's still a small sample for this kind of thing. And you don't want to get to a point where you're over tinkering, right? You don't want to make this change and, okay, it's not working. Let's make another change. And then 3 months later, like, okay, that's not working. Because then you get into a habit of continually making changes. And that's not a good path to go down for a Major League Baseball player. Kyle Manzardo, same thing too. He is not the size of an Ohtani, of a Judge, of an Elly De La Cruz, where he can afford to stand that far back in the box and make those adjustments either. Manzardo, the thing I look at for Manzardo is this. His launch angle on balls that are in the outer half of the zone, especially the upper half, they are very, very poor. Like, he is popping a lot of balls up high in the zone, and he is popping balls up away. And that's part of standing far away from the box too. Yeah, we got another run from Carlos Santana. So that's 2 runs. Hey, that's more than they scored on Sunday. They're halfway to their total in the entire Mariners series.
To make your point, it's like, Naylor is listed at 6 feet, Manzardo at 6'1", I believe Gabby at 5'11". So, yeah, it's like, which one of these is not like the other, looking at the Guardians guys on that list.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's not just how far away you stand from the plate too. It's also, again, it's the angle you're standing at. It's the depth in the box too. So, like, all those things, make a difference. And there's that old saying, we were talking about this on our insiders chat on Tuesday night, which, shout out to all of our insiders who showed up for that chat. I had a lot of fun. I hope all you did too. We talked about, like, the old Pete Rose saying, like, he would move, and then this is, kind of old school, but, if a guy's throwing junk low, like it used to be, like a Tom Glavine type or a Greg Maddux type, you would move up in the box because all their stuff, like if you have a guy who's got a good changeup or a splitter who maybe doesn't throw hard, or like a Jamie Moyer, you move up in the box And if it's harder, you move back in the box. You don't really change inside or outside. Like, yeah, if based on how open or closed your stance is, you might. But Manzardo doesn't have a closed stance. It's somewhat open. Bo Naylor has tinkered the last 2 years with his stance, right? It's been open. It's been not so open. He's tinkered a lot too, and that's where you get into trouble with these things. Petey Halpin in the minors is a guy that comes to mind that like tinkers with his stance all the time. And then Gabriel Arias, look what he did. He just missed the pitch right down the middle of the plate, a fastball. Literally middle of the plate fastball. He swung right through at 94. And that's where that coaching comes in. I understand you don't want to make knee-jerk changes based on 3 months. So
technically, it actually was low in the zone. It was at that was in his heat zone that he missed. It was just below.
Well, that's also not great. Yeah,
but it doesn't matter because he'll come back to strike out on the 6th pitch.
Great. Well, so I understand not wanting to make changes like right away after you make this change. Like you can't just go off for 3 months and say, "Well, this isn't working," because if you do, you fall into an ugly trap of just constantly trying to want to change things. And we know how much it is about hitter comfort, but like, look at Jose Ramirez at 5'9". He knows he's 5'9", and he stands above the plate basically. Not every guy is comfortable doing that, but you take away the inside part of the zone, you reach the outside, and it also matters too. Like Arias has good bat speed, so he should be able to cover more pitches. I don't know what his swing length is, but like he got good bat speed. Manzardo does not have great bat speed, so you've got to adjust it based on all those things. That's why biomechanics are so big today too, right? Like you want to understand everything a hitter is doing from his stride, his load, his rotation. Like you want to understand all those things and how they make your swing the most efficient. Like everyone's going to have a hole in their swing. Like very few guys don't have holes in their swing. But what you want to do is you want a huge one. Yes, he did. That's why he played in Japan.
Yep.
But he was very good over there. Okay, that's why Franmil Reyes and Oscar Gonzalez.
I'm apparently just not even like doing the show tonight. I'm just scattering in baseball references from movies and TV instead of
TV shows. That's fine. this is a late night show.
Justin did a good enough job. I'm going to reference
the fun stuff. Yeah. Fine. I'll do all the research. You do all the comedy. That works. I'm not funny. So, but I mean, you want to have your barrel in the zone as long as possible. You want to give yourself the ability to make adjustments with your swing. But that's why biomechanics are so big these days. So I understand like these changes, but when you make these changes, like a guy like Arias is out of options. So you can't send to AAA and say, "Hey, change this and work on it." This is what he did all of last year. This is exactly what he was doing last year in the minors. And they sent him down. And why he was crushing the ball. So I understand why they're sticking with it because it worked in AAA a year ago. But, the major leagues are different. And Manzardo has options. Maybe he should go down and change these things because he still can do it while he's young enough and has options. Bo Naylor, you don't have a choice with Bo Naylor. You're stuck with him. And he's fine. He's fine. He's not great. He's fine.
Dom Nunez has like the third highest OPS on the team in the last 10 days. So
yeah, we're talking about sustainable.
Dom Nunez, Austin Hedges. That'll be I think that works. I think that works.
Obviously, I got your platoon for the future.
Please note I'm joking.
Cooper Ingle for an outfielder.
Please don't comment. Please don't comment. It's a joke. It's a bad joke. Just like that Rodriguez swing there was a bad joke. But
he had the first inning, hit the triple in the second inning. Watching him run to third was hilarious. By the way. I from to talk. I'm a terrible runner. Ooh, that was a very Oscar Gonzalez like swing, which very similar players.
Now let's see if they'll actually throw anything to Angel Martinez that is above his ankles, because unfortunately for the last 2 weeks he swings at everything ankle height.
Oh, the bottom of this lineup. We were on the insiders chat. We were talking about the lineup, and it was like the bottom of the lineup was Arias, Rodriguez, and Martinez, Naylor, or Martinez and Hedges. It was like, oh god, this is.
I know in the World Cup they talk about like who's in like the group of death. Except for with this lineup, it's the grouping of death. But it's the death of the Guardians' offense because they just have.
Oh, hey, Rodriguez and Hedges are responsible for one of the two runs tonight.
They are. Hedges did his job. Rodriguez. Hey, there's Martinez. After I just got to keep ragging on people because then
we really do.
You know what? They're all bums. They should all be cut. I think they're all terrible baseball players. Let's go high on reverse jinx meter. I know we got to jump to break. We got to come back and talk about the futures game, right?
Sure do.
And talk maybe
Jeff's
some voter. And we got to mention Dylan DeLucia and his performance tonight as well.
Yeah, lots of minor league stuff, lots of all-star break stuff, all of Jeff's favorite things. coming up on the rest of today's Locked On Guardians. Stick with us.
But let's bring it over. I had a disappointing Father's Day. Hopefully no one can hear me. I got coffee, but you know what I didn't get? I didn't get trade coffee. That would have made it that's what made it disappointing, is there wasn't the trade coffee. I love Space Cadet. I love Trade Coffee, our newest sponsor. And let's be real, coffee isn't just a drink. It's a ritual, a lifeline, the thing that gets you from half asleep to fully functioning. And if it's that essential, why sell it for anything less than the amazing Trade Coffee? Can I do the thing? Voila. It's the #1 coffee destination in the U.S., delivering fresh, incredible coffee from now on from over 50 of the country's top roasters. I love it so much. I ate a bean. I am tempted to eat a bean again. It's fantastic. Right now, Trade is offering exclusive for our customers 50% off your 1-month trial at drinktrade.com/lockedonmlb. That's TRAD.com/lockedonmlb for 50% off your 1-month trial. Drinktrade.com/lockedonmlb. My precious.
That was deeply disturbing. I'm very concerned right now about where this show is going. Jeff's hoarding his coffee like it's a ring. I suppose if you drink enough coffee, you might be able to turn into Gollum.
I think sometimes when I don't have my coffee, I'm like Gollum in the morning.
That's true. That's probably
that's where I am with it. Yeah. So
you're like Austin Hedges and chug a Red Bull every game. You can chug a coffee before we start.
You know, it's great when you can have Austin Hedges up with 2 on and 2 out and a 2-2 count in a tie 2 game.
Who better?
That's what I know. He did his job last time. He was able to be have an effective out.
Oh. Fly ball to the warning track is not going to get done this at bat, unfortunately.
Oh, how about a fly ball to the infield track, aka the end of the infield dirt? Bad at bat.
Well,
unfortunately,
if he trips over the pitcher's mound like Will Wilson did on Tuesday in Columbus, trying to catch a pop up, it works.
And but here's the thing: they've actually had some offense. They've had some guys get on base. Positive signs, because Robbie Ray is really tough. Let's be honest about that. This is a tough matchup. I did not have high expectations. If you told me they had 2 runs at this point in the game, I'd have been like, sold. I will take it. So
even if they lose, they have 2 runs through four innings. Yeah.
I mean, against Robbie Ray,
County looks fantastic. I know.
That's not even a knock on them. Look at Robbie Ray's data. Like, he's not giving up a lot of 3 or 4 run games in general. He's going to be an all-star.
No. And the Guardians have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hard hit balls off him tonight. Yeah. So in theory, the Guardians should have probably some more hits, but his Savant page is very red. His fastball velocity is not great. He still walks a ton of guys. That's what they need to do the rest of this game, is they need to find a way to bait him into some walks, because he does have a rather high walk rate this year. So if they can do that,
Slade needs
the Giants bullpen. Yeah, the Giants bullpen also is a little bit iffy too. Ryan Walker and Camilo Doval are not having great years, so that would certainly help them.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, both runs for Slade came off of players he walked. So he's got he's filthy. I've talked about this, and I'll say it again. And I've gotten into some debates in our comments. I don't know any world where you would not take 6 years of Slade Ciccone for 1 year of Josh Naylor. We don't even have to talk about the Santana side of it. We don't even have to talk about the bonus draft pick. Controversial opinion. You can comment below if I'm totally wrong on this, but when he is dealing, he is the nastiest looking pitcher they have right
now. I mean, when Gavin Williams is dealing, he's got better stuff, but Slade Ciccone has been more consistent so far, which is wild, but maybe not surprising. No, I agree with you. Like, I would rather have 6 years. I think if you just do the logic, like the weight balancing thing, I would rather have 6 years to draft pick of Slade Ciccone than 1 year of Josh Naylor. But I think a lot of people are viewing that trade in the context of, okay, we might have a chance to go back to the ALCS and do more in 2025. So it's a conversation of, do you want to win in 2025, or do you want to be set up for success going forward with a little more uncertainty and having to deal with a bit of a dip in 2025? And that's the counterway. Like, that's why it was a fair trade to begin with, because the Diamondbacks needed a first baseman for 2025. Other things have happened where they're not doing great now.
I still don't think they're going to sell. They got an old. They've got a classic case of old owners spending a lot of money to try to win something. Like, old owners don't
sell. A lot of bandages. Yeah.
Like, old owners know they got limited seasons.
Yeah, let's get into this real quick. We got two things about the roster in the future. So Stephen Vogt is part of the MLB AL All-Star team coaching staff. Aaron Boone invited him to join the staff there. A lot of people, I saw a lot of comments who were like, "Oh, this idiot! How could he be on there?" Blah blah blah. Guys, Stephen Vogt is a second-year manager. There's still things he's learning. That's not to make excuses. Like playing Will Wilson just because he's right-handed, and you want the platoon advantage. Understand that's not a platoon advantage if Will Wilson is worse against lefties than Daniel Schneemann is.
Yeah.
So there are things like that have to be figured out too. But Stephen Vogt didn't win Manager of the Year. This is, again, why we give too much credit and too much blame, because the guy was the Manager of the Year a year ago. What changed? Stephen Vogt didn't change. He might need to change because he's still learning, but like nothing really changed from last year. The roster changed. The players have regressed. The bullpen's not perfect. It's good, not perfect. David Fry is not there crushing lefties this year as much as he was. Stephen Kwan is dealing with injuries again. You just don't have that kind of stuff. So you don't have John Kenzie Noel, who's hot for a month, right? Like it's not just that Vogt forgot how to manage overnight, and
There's
he's
no
still
Spencer
learning on the
Howard
job
to carry this team.
Oh God, I wanted to forget about that, Jeff. Please, I wanted to throw that into the Manny Acta years, like the where I've buried all those in my backyard of my brain. But he didn't just forget how to manage. Like it's just I think it's ridiculous that everyone's wanting to bail on Vogt after a couple months of a struggling season. Like
He's had a lot of weird decisions this year. I will say, in defense of
for
those
sure,
people
yeah.
who get mad, there's things he's made some choices where I'm like, I
just said the Will Wilson
comprehend.
thing, ridiculous. Yeah.
I'm like there's just those moments where I'm like, I don't know where these are coming from. I struggle to comprehend what is going on, or why he's making some of the choices he makes. Those occasionally do pop up, but yeah, there's also that whole thing where the MLB released what managers you want to play for, and he was near the top of that list.
Yeah, on the Athletic, yeah. So those things matter. And again, he's a second-year manager. Like Terry Francona is a Hall of Fame manager. Go back and look at how things went for him in Philadelphia. It was an abject disaster, right?
It was.
And I know everyone's going to say, well, the Reds are beating the Guardians. Yes, the Reds have crushed the Guardians. The Reds are having a very frustrating year overall. He didn't just go to Cincinnati and all of a sudden, boom, this is a great team. No, the Reds are still stuck in purgatory right now. Again, this is why managers get too much credit and too much blame, and why it's a hard job, and it's up to the players, and why things don't change overnight. All right, Jeff, I want to talk about the futures game a little bit. We're about 3 weeks out of this. This is Jeff's favorite topic. Is anything All-Star break related? It's his favorite time of year next to spring training, and the World Baseball Classic is his favorite every 4 years. I was kind of digging through and thinking, who could go to the futures game for the Guardians, and why does this even matter? It doesn't matter. It's a nice piece of the puzzle, but it's certainly not, the entire thing. There's a lot of guys who have played in the future game that didn't make it at, and there's a lot of guys in the futures game who are stars. So it is just a piece of the puzzle, but it's not, the entire picture.
Dare I say it's a showcase?
You're right. It is a showcase. It is a showcase. The things that matter for the futures game are this. It says a lot about how a team might feel about a certain player. So who you agree to send, but also MLB wants to showcase a lot of things. They want to showcase high velocity. They want to showcase young international stars. They want to showcase all that stuff. Top 100 prospects get invited, even if they're not having great years. Jason Churio won a year ago. I don't think he's going this year.
Yeah, they don't like repeats, and they often don't like guys who are at the very top of the system.
Yeah, Chase DeLauter, I think, has a chance if he's healthy. I know everyone wants Chase DeLauter to come up for Cleveland this year. I think there's a better chance of seeing him in the futures game than there is in Cleveland and in July. Honestly, I know people are going to hate that.
I don't know, just because a lot of times they don't like to take guys from AAA. That's the one thing they tend to go.
Yeah, Manzardo played it a few years ago, I think, but it really depends. It really
depends what roster has needs too. Because it's when you
US and to be honest, Cleveland might consider not sending him because of injury risk. Why send this guy to a situation where he could get himself hurt even more than he already has been? So Cleveland might opt to not send him. If I had to pick right now, my two picks for the future, my one pick for the futures game is Angel Genao. He's had a very short season because of
I got two. He was one of mine. Let's see if you get the other one as well from my list.
I'm see everyone's gonna say CJ Kafis. I'm gonna say not CJ Kafis
No,
because
I don't know
first
about it.
base is a very, very hard position to make it in these things at. The stats are good, but he's in AAA, like you said. But he has as good of a chance of going to AAA or going to the futures game as he does playing in the majors in that point in the season. But he's a statistical guy. He's not really like a high priority top 100 guy. This is not a guy that MLB is going to say we have to have him in this game. So if I had to guess, I would say it's only going to be Genao. I don't have a second pick. I think it's just on
I
now.
think the second pick, because he can play a lot of things and has some loud tools and he has good numbers, is Alfonso and Rosario, because they often like younger players. And like,
Yeah,
if, you know,
he's not a top 100 prospect though.
I mean, there are guys in that game every year who are not top 100 prospects. It's not just top 100 guys, and he's got enough tools. I would not be shocked. I'm just gonna plant my flag and say Alfonso and Rosario and Tugboat. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I could see like Juan Brito. Now Juan Brito is going to be up before that, I think. Like maybe Parker Messick is like an injury replacement, or he's a replacement for someone who gets
They don't
called
like
up.
AAA guys typically, so that's why I was like looking at the lower.
There's nobody in AA besides Genao. There's nobody.
Yeah, I mean, if
County they had Ralphie Velasquez a year ago.
Yeah, if Bazzano was healthy, he'd be a lock.
Yes, he would,
because they would want to showcase him.
Yes,
we gotta. I know we're running low on time. Dylan DeLucia, talk about the game today.
Woo! Five innings, no hits, 8 strikeouts, 2 walks, 11 innings. I think he's got 12 strikeouts so far at AA, 2 walks. He hasn't allowed a run yet. A lot more swing and miss than I thought he would have at AA so far. The fastball is like 92 to 95. Slider's looking good. I like the changeup. I really have concerns about the size. He's already had Tommy John. The delivery is a little bit effortful. So, like, as a starter, I have concerns long term. I think he could be a great reliever. Yeah. But this looks like a Hunter Gaddis path to me for DeLucia. I'm excited, though.
Rule 5 eligible at the end of the year, so just keep that in your back pocket.
I would 40 him. As of right now, I would have
with
to 40
the way he's
him.
pitching.
Yes.
I think him and Miller and Aleman are the 3 guys that I like most as future potential back end relief types.
40-man discussion at the end of the year is going to be very interesting. A lot will change between now and the All-Star.
I'm sure during the All-Star break when there's downtime, we'll probably sit down and discuss that. I know fans like to
have the draft. What downtime? We're going to have the draft to talk about.
Well, we'll have some off days. We'll get into it. People love prospects. We love to talk about them. We love all of your support each and every day here on this show, win, lose, or draw. Thank you all, and go Guardians, go.